As with all boards, you want to see everybody rowing in the same direction and everybody on the same page. In this board's case, you had board members who came in at different times. You had board members who came in at different price points, at different share price points. You had board members with different agendas and different exit strategies. In addition, you had executive management on the board. They're not always on the same page as other board members who are investors. This board, nine board members, we got them all to vote, and all to vote in the same way. That's a very good start, and that's the first step in getting to a transaction.
Well, the chief challenge of the board in M&A transactions is determining if the transaction is in the best interest of our shareholders. The other considerations, obviously, which need to be taken into consideration are the impact on our employees and on the communities that we serve.
I think any board of directors faced with an M&A decision is faced with a difficult decision, particularly when you're going to be the junior partner in a merger transaction. And from our standpoint, one of our chief challenges first was to keep it confidential. And we were really, really good at it, but what that did was govern the process a bit for us. And what I mean by that is that we were a commercial bank, very relationship-oriented in our stock and trade, and the way we competed against the Bank of America in our area, Citizens, or even a Sovereign, was to say we're locally controlled. So when you have that kind of ethos, it's very hard if there were any leakage that you were going to sell, it would have an adverse impact. And so we wanted to be the ones to get out there, should we consummate a transaction, and say, look, here's what's good about it, here's what's right about it, here's why it works for not only our shareholders, but our employees in the community.
Next step is for the board to turn around and say, look, we're going to hire professionals, and we're going to hire outside professionals, and we're going to agree that that's a good idea. Now, we have board members who are attorneys. We have board members who are investment bankers in the banking community. Yet, when push came to shove and everybody became reasonable about it, we hired outside professionals. We went out and we hired Luce Gorman to be our attorneys, and we hired Sandler O'Neill to be our investment bankers. Now you got to go through the process of figuring out who you're going to do a transaction with. Everybody has to come up with a plan. Everybody has a different idea. But if you listen to your outside counsel and you trust your outside counsel and they do a good job, you're in good shape.
One of the other challenges a board will face, and it's more hypothetical sometimes than real, is how much do social issues weigh in versus what do you do about price and how do you trade them off? And we were fortunate that we didn't have to face that challenge because the strongest price, and there was a cash and stock mix, and it was a well-perceived currency as well, also was the best transaction for us from a social issue standpoint. We not only achieved board seats on the acquirer's board, but the model that Brookline uses for its acquisition is to keep its subsidiary banks intact. So there are certain functions that are centralized either immediately over time that are largely back office. So the look, touch, and feel of your institution remains. So the Bank Rhode Island board stayed intact, which is our subsidiary, and all the branches, there was no overlap. The branches stayed the same. The commercial lending team, which really led our charge and our growth over the years, remained in place. So it was a very win-win transaction for everyone involved.